Hello there. It's good to see everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. And we're outside again. It's morning. This is new for me. Talking in the morning as early as it is. It's about, I don't know, 8 o'clock or so. I'm out here where it's quiet. Of course, the nice pasture out behind me. I just thought it'd be good just to keep our little outside venture going on. If you don't mind, please turn to Psalm, the 14th chapter, and let's look at verse 1, okay? Psalm 14, verse 1. This is what it says. The fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. Their deeds are vile. There is no one who does good. And again, verse 1, that first phrase, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. I have been reading some books lately dealing with atheist scientists, people who have a more or less a vendetta against God whenever they have the chance. So not atheists, but anti-theists who take an active role in pursuing the debate field and disproving God and all this, David says those people are fools. Even though to us they are physicists, they are scientists of every make and model out there, from biology to physics to engineering, just all of those kinds of people. And I give them credit for knowing what they do. But I think we have in the Christian community, or everybody, in fact, we will parlance this saying. Scientists say, and we use them as the final authority on everything, from medicine to, like I say, physics, the universe. We just, to kind of like bolster our argument for whatever it is. Well, scientists say, well, who gives them that authority? Well, we cede that authority over to them when it's really just a man's opinion when it comes to the existence of God, or in their avenue, the non-existence of God. Lawrence Krauss, he wrote a book. I've got it right here, and I bought it. And it's a very complicated read. A universe from nothing. Okay, and he goes through this entire book and proves that. In his math and all this, that everything came from nothing. And it is, he has a long way of saying it. It's over 200 pages to say that. And the reason why is because everything can come out of nothing naturally without any intervention from anybody else, especially a God. And he says this statement right here in this book. I want you to look at this. One of the great things about science, and to them science is a god, that I want to convey is that common sense is not necessarily a good guide to understand nature. Let me read that last little part again, okay? Common sense is not necessarily a good guide to understand nature. Now here's a guy who's over here, and he's telling everybody out there in the world that'll hear him to, when it comes to nature, throw away common sense. Don't use common sense when you look at nature. I know that I have been in talks with people who look at nature and come away with the idea that you Christian people are not using your common sense because science, the other God, has said everything came about this way. So you people are not looking at science or looking at nature with common sense, because common sense would tell you that nature would tell you that there is no God, because science has proved there is no God. So you people over here are not using common sense when you think that there is a God. Over here, they're telling you over here that when you do science or when you do look at nature, throw away common sense. So, here we are on both sides of this argument here about whether or not there is or is not a God, and we're told don't use common sense. But if you use common sense, you're not thinking. I struggle with how the scientific community can say that they have all the answers when they don't. I have right here my latest edition of Astronomy Magazine. Well, it's May issue of Astronomy Magazine, and we've all heard about the Big Bang and how it all happened all at once, and it solves all the creation theories out there that there is or is not a God. But it says right here in the main article that the the Big Bang theory is in crisis. And just let me read a couple of little vignettes here of thought. Okay, cosmologists have struggled, if not outright failed, to understand essential facets of the universe. Perhaps these puzzles are not as unrelated as they might seem, but are instead collectively pointing us toward a very different picture of our universe and its earliest moments. So in this little scientific article right here, they're saying, all right, we don't have all the answers, but the answers we are having are probably pointing us in another direction that might be outside the Big Bang theory. That's another long way of saying that science does not have all the answers. And to come to a conclusion that there is no God comes when they only really know 5% of what is out there in not only this world but in the universe in total. And just let me say, I really don't want to get into all the dark energy, dark matter stuff, but between those two entities of dark energy, the universe is expanding faster and faster every day. Instead of slowing down, it's going to expand forever. They don't know what's causing that, so they call that dark energy, which makes up 70% of the energy in the universe. And then you have dark matter. Dark matter is the stuff that's holding galaxies together. There's not enough stars and planets out there to hold these galaxies together. So dark matter holds them together. That's about 25% of the stuff that's out there. And they don't know what it is. So they just call it dark matter. So between dark matter and dark energy, that's 95% of the universe that they have no idea what it is. So with only knowing 5% of what's happening or going on or of surety here in the universe, and then come to a conclusion with only knowing 5% that there is no God does not make sense to me. I mean, how many of you have ever passed a test knowing only 5%? So there's another lie that I want to bring out to you. Their thinking is that life is meaningless with no real purpose, value, or reason. Life is meaningless with no real purpose, value, or reason. I was at camp last week, and as a little fun thing, I've found out on the internet that's our new source of everything, and I was going to make a man, and so I found the chemical composition of a human. It's so much hydrogen, so much oxygen. Of course, that's water. So much potassium, and I threw a banana in there, and in a trash can. I took all those elements, I stirred them around, and they said, "Okay." It says here in the instructions, give it 10 million years. So I had a clock, I bought for $3. Threw it in there and mixed it all up, and we were going to see if a man popped up after just a little while. Of course it didn't. But the thing that I wanted to portray to those people is the kids that were there is that all those things that I threw in that trash can added up to about $1.28. I was reading later on, if that's too low a price, you would make more money skinning yourself and selling your skin that way at 25 cents a square foot. They say it's about $3.50. I guess that depends on the size of the person. You can make more money if you just take your organs out and sell them, but you can't do that. That's illegal to do, and but $1.28. Life is meaningless with no real purpose, reason, or value. Lawrence Krauss, he said this when asked this question: if you get rid of God, then does life lose all purpose? And this is what he said: For me, it certainly doesn't. But I find living in a universe without purpose to be amazing. I find living in a universe without purpose is amazing. It's amazing. Uh, I want to kind of carry that just a little bit, okay? If God is meaningless with no purpose, value, or reason, then how do we know He's there if He has no purpose, reason, or value? I mean, how would He reveal Himself if there's no reason to it, no purpose to it, no value to it? And if the universe is out there and it has no purpose, reason, or value, then we have no purpose, reason, or value simply because they start with the premise that God is not there, so there's no purpose, reason, or value for anything. But we, on the other hand, we see God as meaningful. God has purpose. God has meaning. God has value. And everything that God does has purpose, meaning, and value. I want to talk about Jeremiah here just a little bit. When you're talking about purpose, meaning, and value from God, having purpose, meaning, and value. This is what Jeremiah says in Jeremiah, the first chapter, starting with verse 4. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. And I want you to see that in those statements right there, you have a God who has purpose, meaning, and value, that before Jeremiah the prophet was even formed in the womb, it says that God knew him. God had a purpose for him. Because God had purpose, meaning, and value, God had purposed in his mind that I'm going to create Jeremiah, I'm going to knit him together, and the mission in his life is going to be as a prophet to speak for me, and he is going to have purpose, meaning, and value because I have purpose, meaning, and value. You know, I really struggle, if I can say that. If I can talk about church here just a little bit. I wonder if our churches understand, not all of them, some of them. I wonder if our churches understand that we have purpose, meaning, and value, because I see it. I mean, I've seen it all my life. Some people come to church, they don't expect nothing. They don't really expect anything to happen or to be jazzed, necessarily. Some people come to church just to sit there and well, I don't know what they do, but you know what I mean. Some people come to church because it's a habit. I'm a Christian just so I can go to heaven, and not really take the purpose in their life further than that. Now, I'm not saying those people are horrible people. I'm glad they're there and all that. But is that really purposeful and meaningful and reasonable when it comes to a purposeful, valuable, reasonable God? I think a lot of our churches operate that way, that the only goal that they have in their existence is to make sure they have church next Sunday. Is that really purposeful and meaningful and valuable? Is that meaning? Does that give meaning to the church or to the person? Or does that give meaning to God? And I think one of the things that I think this pandemic has done, it's made me at least understand that there's more to it than just meets the eye. To the scientists, there's more to it than just meets the eye of nature. There's more to it. There's more to it than just meets the person who just wants to come to church and sit in the pew and think that that's all I need to do. That's not purposeful. That's not meaningful. Jesus Christ came, he died on the cross to give us life and to give it abundantly. And I'm not talking about having expensive possessions. Abundance meaning more to life than what meets the eye. Um, I pray that you all understand, and I appreciate y'all looking at this and listening to this. But I think it would be good if we understand that the attack of scientists and physicists and all that kind of stuff who are atheists against us Christian believing people is that, if you want to believe that, well, you just go right ahead. That's very special of you, but it has absolutely no meaning on anything in this entire existence that we call the universe. And I think a lot of people have bought that we're just going to take it as a hobby more than as a mission and ministry and worship of God. Let's all pray. Dear Father, we love you. We thank you. We think that you're important to us, dear Father. In fact, we know that. I know, dear Father, that there are things out there that want to pull us away from you, to have us use a mindset of people who have no inkling of wanting to be close to you, but want to disprove you, dear Father. In our schools, that is prevalent. In our colleges, that is prevalent. Yes, even in the workplace, people deny your existence. Dear Father, we know that everything that you have in this universe speaks of you as valuable, purposeful, and with reason. Thank you to God for giving us that kind of meaning in our lives through your Son, Jesus Christ. And we say all these things in your Son's name.